Okay, so it's David Snyder back again with the lesson number 2, which is going to be pretty brief, on how to use some very powerful tools like Finale, Garritan, the Garritan sound library, played through the Aria Player, which give you powerful sample sounds of actual instruments, so that you're actually playing with real musicians and getting the sound of a band behind you. But before we get into using the tools and how to generate songs and create songs, I want to go over something that's very fundamental that you have to do as a first step that so many people don't do in the world today, and that is actually giving some thought to what the chords in your song are going to be before you sit down and you begin to work on it, because how you structure a song is very important. Basically, if you're writing in for the commercial market, your song has got to be 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, 3 minutes and 45 seconds at the most, for example, if that's the commercial market. If you're writing television clips and that kind of thing, you've got a very compact amount of space to work in, and if you want to know how to make something sound good, you got to know something about chords. Well, a lot of people out there today think that it's good enough just to know a G, C, and a D chord. Well, you probably should know more than that. So I highly recommend that before you start to lay anything down in a software program, that you get a sheet of paper. This is a document that I created for myself, and everything fits on one page. And you see I've got 4 bars that are running across the top, 4 bars here, and so I've got 8 measures. That 8 measures is your classic kind of standard verse. So, and then I've got 8 measures for the chorus, and then should I decide to use a bridge, I've got this here. But my first thought process is, gee, I wonder what key this song is going to be in that's going to sound the best. I think I've used the key of C a little too often recently. Maybe I'll put it E flat. That's a nice sounding key. Well, if that's the case, what am I going to start on? Am I going to start on an E? Am I going to start on the root, or am I going to start on the 3rd, on maybe a minor 6? I don't know. Maybe I should give some thought to that. But whatever the case is, I'm going to sit down with my guitar or my piano, and I'm going to write down in every single block, before I start doing anything, what the chord changes are in each measure, so I have a physical copy of what are the chord changes that will go in the verse, and in the chorus, and in the bridge if I decide to have one, or if I have another part, if I'm doing a symphonic composition and it's a little bit more complicated than that. But at any rate, the question that I want to answer is, what are the chords, and why am I using those chords if I'm going to write a compelling piece of music? A lot of people get befuddled and say, I can't figure it out. Well, I would study, if I were you, classical music. Classical music is a great thing to study. I actually use the Classical Fake book, just giving away this idea as a freebie because it's a world of abundance, right? If you go in here to any particular page, you will look at Handel. Here's a good one, Ombra My Foo. And you'll look at that and you'll go, gee, that's a chord progression, man. That is sweet. Look at what old Handel did, man. He started off on an F, G minor, C7 over G, F over A, B flat, G minor, F, C. Holy cow, man. Handel knew what he was doing. Now that is a chord progression that I can use. Paul McCartney would have loved that. Looks kind of a little bit like Yesterday, as a matter of fact. You know, I think I'm going to study classical music and look what the old school dudes did, because it looks like they knew how to write a rocking chord progression. And after having done that, using more than a G, C, and a D, I'm going to write it down, and then once I write it down and begin to program it, using Guitar Pro, Band in the Box, Finale, then I think I'm going to have something going on, a compelling musical piece that people are going to love. But first, I'm going to write it down. That, I think I said enough. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to figure out where I should go. Here I'm in the key of E flat. I'm doing this. Should I go to the 4? Should I go to what would be the 4 chord? Nah, it's too common, man. I think actually I'm going to do a 6 chord with what would be a B flat bass. Yeah. It's in the 4 position, but it's just a lot more interesting than the 4. But that being said, I got a lot of work to do. So let me do my work, and then I'm going to come back for part 3 of how to use Finale, Garritan, and all the other wonderful programs out there.